now. Hey, everybody, you're listening to the Total Basis podcast. I'm your host, Felipe, and with me is my guest, Steve Carey. Steve, how you doing this afternoon?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm
Glad to
so
be here.
I'm so used to doing these
Excited.
in the morning. I forgot that we're actually in the afternoon. I'm not used to doing them this late, but coffee already wore off. I need a nap. Kids driving me crazy, but it's okay. It's
We would
keeper
have been here
selection
earlier.
day. I'm sorry, what?
So we would have been here earlier, but yeah, kids got in my way. I got reminded yesterday of a little something that me and the kids and the wife had going on from my wife, and then of
Oh
course I
man.
get that look like I told you, I told you. I'm like, yeah, okay,
Oh,
all
really?
right.
That's you got to put those on the calendar, man. You got my wife and I. We have a
Yes,
calendar, and all we have to do is claim the day, and no one says anything about it because
you
that's
and you and Jesus and Lucy. They've been telling me that for because that's how they do their thing. They got like the combined calendar. Boom, boom, boom.
yeah.
Everything goes in. I don't know why I'm so reluctant. I don't know.
I think it's
I got
because
to get it.
for you, it would be another thing I got to keep track of. I think that's in your head. That's my
I'll go with
best
that.
hypothesis. But no, it's a lifesaver. Like that way you can. Well, it's on the calendar. Like for the Mardi Gras draft, I did not see when the draft was put in stone. The draft date was put in stone. I didn't see that, and that's on me. But still, I didn't see it, so I wasn't able to put it on the calendar on time. So my wife is actually gonna be hanging out with with her friends, to see a comedy show. And the night of the draft, I will be home alone with the kid, trying to create the Felipe Empire of points league dominance, and that's not gonna go well. I can already see it. But I got no one to blame for myself.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there. You know what? I'm just going to let you know it's possible. You can do
hmm
it. You can
I,
do it.
I've done it before, but I don't like it. I don't like
No,
it. But
no, I don't either. It's not easy, but it can be done.
call me dad of the year or the worst dad ever. But that's what Elmo and Miss Rachel's for. So we're all gonna get our screen time in that late. Anyway, the the concept of the show for today is that Steve and I, we're both on the same fantasy baseball league. It's a head-to-head weekly points league. It's called the Mardi Gras League. I've been doing it. This is the my white whale league, the my Moby Dick, the league that seems to always get away and will be the death of me if I don't figure it out soon. I mean, I think I know. I have a good feeling I know what I'm doing wrong, but I refuse to change because I'm
I
that's
keep
this
telling
is
you, you need to get better spreadsheets.
yeah,
That's
more color. We need more color on the spreadsheets. No, but really,
yeah.
it's like I'm like the Captain Ahab of this league. I'm the one who freaking helped create this stupid thing, and I can't figure out how to win. But before this league, that was all I did was play in points leagues, and I did pretty damn good in those. To the point where I thought I was untouchable and invincible. Then I get grouped up with these crusty old guys, and by comparison, back in those days, Steve, everybody was a crusty old guy. I was like a teenager when I joined this league, so
And now look, full circle. You're
now
uh
I'm
you're
the
coming
crusty
into the
old guy.
crusty old guy.
I'm the crusty old
Mhm.
guy, yeah. And who's the youngest guy? Oh, I think Austin would be the youngest guy. And I was gonna say let's start with him because his name starts with letter A, alphabetical order. But no, we're gonna start with you, Mr. Carey. And I don't know how I should do this, but I guess I should share the roster with the folks out there. But
Let
the
me just say,
cons,
I
go
can't
ahead.
believe this is my 8th year.
Yeah.
It seems crazy. I remember when you had me jump in, but this is going to be my 8th year. I've been looking here at the history when the name change happened. I was like, wow, 8 years already. Man,
It goes by fast, like 20 years. It seems like only yesterday I helped create the league and join it, and you know, that seems like it happened just days ago, and no, that was 20 plus, almost 20 plus years ago already, and we're still at it. Um, you know, it's a fun league. Obviously, I can't leave it because I feel like I can't leave because I helped create it, and like I said, it's a good group of guys, and it's hard to replace the other owners like that. But yeah, it's been more frustration than happiness, but I keep doing it because
and then
everybody has a white whale. Go ahead.
the year that you were about to just be like, I'm done, I'm out of it. You That was the year that you actually made a huge push, and that kind of set. That wasn't last year. That was the year before that, right?
Yeah, 22, I think.
Yeah. So, which is crazy though, because now when you look at your roster, at least when I looked at it, that still set you up very well going into last season and this season, really. I mean, from a hitting standpoint.
Jacob is. Let me see what the heck's he talking. Pause. He said, "What did I say that warranted a pause?" You guys got to be specific, man. We're ahead of you guys, and I might have said something that would have caused the word pause. I'm not sure. Uh, yeah. What the hell do you think they call me Spreadsheet Felipe for? You don't know? I thought you knew that already. I have an OnlyFans. I call it spread them sheets. Oh, did I lose you? Did you lose me? Uh,
No, I'm good.
oh, I thought, man, I've been having some internet issues lately, and I thought I lost you. Like, oh no, not this crap again. But anyway, oh, and in the meantime, I was supposed to share my screen here, and we haven't told each other who we're keeping or who. Oh, right. So the premise for the umpteenth time. First of all, Steve, do you see the Mardi Gras my roster for the Mardi Gras League up on the screen? Is it showing up yet?
Yeah, I see that that adequate team there. Yeah.
Yeah, the adequate team. It's an okay team. It's Felipe's Black Hole Army. It's a if anybody's curious, Black Hole Army was the evil faction from the game Advance Wars on the Game Boy Advance. Yeah, and just
I'm
like
glad you. I never asked you, but I did kind of wonder from time to time where that came from.
yeah,
I thought maybe it was a song or something. I didn't know.
no. That's it's a video game. It's a video game that my brothers and I used to play. I mean, they just remade it for the Nintendo Switch, so we've been trying to get. I forgot how long that those campaigns take to complete. But yeah, you build your army. You build tanks and aircraft and ships and infantry, and you go to battle against the Black Hole Army, who's trying to take over the world. It's the tale as old as time. But so the concept was everybody gets to keep 5 players. We're not going to count the minor leaguers because they get protected with the minor league slots, but everybody gets to keep 5 players. So Steve and I are going to try to figure out who the 6th player will be. And I'm very interested to think who you think I would keep in this manner, because I'm having a hard time. That's why I'm taking forever. I'm taking my sweet time. I'm taking to the very last minute to figure out who my 5 players are. I have an idea who I'm keeping, but like you told me before the show, like my team is stacked, and yeah, I don't know who I'm. Honestly, don't know what I should do. So,
I,
go ahead.
I think. I mean, if you looking at, I mean, what you have going here. I mean, like I said, there's, in my opinion, you have. I mean, you have the hitting, but you also have some pitching that is fairly decent. So in my head, I'm like, well, is he going to forego and let go of a hitter in order to, like, so is he? I look at it from how I look at it. I'd like to keep, maybe three hitters, 2 pitchers, or vice versa. Try to kind of balance it out. Um, you though, I think you'd really. I don't think you have a problem giving up a lot of like you're. I think you would be fine if you gave up all. You took all hitters and you had to just draft pitching heavy. I think you did that one year
That was
actually.
last year, actually. I did that last
Yeah.
year, and
So I mean, I don't think you have an issue doing that, but I mean, kind of by nature, if we're picking the sixth, we kind of have to talk about the 5 that I assume you're going to keep. So when I looked at it, I had you keeping Machado,
okay,
Judge,
okay,
Alvarez.
okay,
Then I figure, well, he's probably gonna. I feel you're gonna. I mean, if you balance it out with pitching, I feel like you keep Gallon, and then you probably keep Glass now.
okay.
Leaving, if you had to take a sixth, I believe you take Trout because I don't think you hold on to Trout though just because of the injury past and all that other stuff. I think that's the reason why I would see him dropped from your roster. Now, I mean, unless you swap out, you keep Trout, and then you just keep Gallon, and then go from there, and then you just
Mm.
worry about drafting pitching. But see, you have Kirby, who I really like, and then you got Grayson Rodriguez, but I'm high on Rodriguez, but I just don't feel like he's you, he's kind of still he's still proving himself. I don't think you could take a chance on him being your keeper.
All valid points, all good points. Like I said, I've been flip-flopping back and forth as to what I should do. Sometimes I feel like I'm gonna keep all pitchers and no hitters. That's a lie. But yeah, more pitchers than hitters. Other times I feel like no, I got to play with my strong suit, and I can always find pitchers everywhere. But we've also done a lot of research this young 2024 season, preseason, I guess you could say, where we took a look and because pitching was awful last year. I think last year was not the time for me to, even though I thought I had compiled a really damn good rotation and pitching stuff, it still wasn't enough. Plus, then all my important hitters got hurt as well. But last year, pitching was just awful, just awful, like the
Yeah.
worst I've seen in my life, and it gets worse every year. But last year was really bad, and I went with that though. I kept the five hitters and just drafted a lot of pitchers early and often and to mix results. So like I said, I can get away with it, but do I want to? I don't think I do this year. But there it is. It's unofficially official. The sixth player I would keep would be Mike Trout if I had, I guess, a sixth keeper player. And for those, I mean, why call it? Why be secretive about this? I made you an offer to involve Mike Trout in a trade, and I made several offers with several owners, and everybody's wary about him. Everybody's just afraid, like, oh man, we can't keep Mike Trout. It'd be disastrous with his injury history, this and that and the other. Mike Trout's still considered a top 50 player, which would that's keeper material.
Well, and that's what I was gonna. I mean, on
Yeah,
any. I mean, not on any other team, but there's. I would say half of the teams in this league, he'd be. There'd be. It would be ridiculous to even put him in the sixth slot for that as a keeper consideration. But, like when the offer that came through, that was my thing. It's like, I let me put it to you this way: if he, excuse me, if he was sitting there
yeah,
in the first round when it's my pick, I'm taking him, right? But I'm not willing to make a trade and give up value and gamble on him. Like, let me keep the value I have and let's see what happens.
yeah. I mean, I think your team is pretty darn good, but I saw some of these other teams like, man, just take Mike
Yeah,
Trout. You got
yeah,
nobody. Uh,
yeah. I agree.
you got, I mean, yeah, I mean, but but a lot of folks think. I mean, the only reason I brought him up is like, well, if you're interested, let's see who else is interested. You always want to see if that is the absolute best offer you can get. But everybody just wanted Mike Trout at Walmart prices. Like, no, I know what I have here. He's a keeper player. I'm gonna treat him as a keeper player, and I wasn't even asking for the moon and the
No,
stars on a lot of these just draft picks and give me your prospect. I mean, we're both taking risk at this point, so let's make it fair.
I think
No,
I think in our text, I think that's what I said to you too. I think I said that. I said, well, I know the value that you see in it, but I can't pull the trigger on giving up that. But or no, I think I said I'm not willing to give up what the price would be
yeah,
because where my team is sitting, and that, for that sole reason. But with that being said, I understand
yeah.
the price you were asking.
Yeah. So I mean, we had this conversation about society as a whole, but you're not willing to spend the price or whatever. Well, I'm not willing to lower the price. I
Mhm.
was willing to compromise, but I'm not. But number one, I didn't get any counter offers, so it's hard to come to a deal or a compromise when no one's throwing you counter offers. But number two, I mean, tell me what you think. I mean, people were coming to me asking for Mike Trout. Okay, well, here's my price. What do you think? Throw me an offer if you don't like it. Oh no, I'm gonna walk away from this deal. You were not even trying. Then why are you bothering me? Leave me alone. I'm trying to have a nice evening with the family. And oh, hey, did you see my trade? Like, yeah. I mean, can we make it a little bit more fair? Oh no, no. I was looking for what Wish prices or Timu. I was looking for Timu
Emu,
prices on Mike
emu.
Trout. Timu Emu. Yeah. So forget it. Anyway, it's done and over with. So now I got a big boy decision to make. I might bring him with me. I might not. If I had a six keeper, yeah, I can see myself uh taking him with me. So for my team, we go back to your team now, Steve. So we were both responsible for each other's teams. And just like you, I assume you're gonna keep Julio Rodriguez, Kyle Tucker. You might have a battle between Michael Harris and Royce Lewis as your third hitter. I think you would do Michael Harris though. Definitely Luis Castillo is staying on your team, and definitely Zach Wheeler as your two pitchers that are the only ones worth um, considering keeping. So again, this is a case where I have a ton of players that I could keep around, and then here's Steve with only two pitchers that I would be willing to keep. There, I
Mhm.
said it. My team's better than yours, even though the records didn't indicate last year. But no, all talking aside, that means that now with a six keeper, I mean, you now have a little bit of an opportunity to really roll the dice here and go with Ellie De La Cruz. Now, that might be crazy, and a lot of experts on the fantasy baseball circuit have mentioned that Ellie De La Cruz is not being touched by anyone in that circle because of the high, the raw ability is still being too, not refined enough, and therefore he's going to struggle, and productions are going to be very inconsistent, and it's not worth like a top three pick in redraft leagues or whatever. But for a six keeper, the, I think that'd be worth the risk. I think that's worth the roll of the dice there. What do you think?
Well, I mean, our keepers are due what in 9 hours?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so I mean, if you don't care, I don't care. I'll share with you who I already have who set who I'm keeping. So, um, you were right. Julio Rodriguez, Kyle Tucker, Luis Castillo, Zach Wheeler, dead on, right?
Yeah.
What I chose to keep though, I actually chose and to roll the dice on Ellie.
Wow.
I just yeah. Michael Harris, he just he did well in the second half of the season, but I mean that the first half of the season was brutal.
Hmm.
I don't know what we're getting out of him. And Royce Lewis, who I loved because he when he was healthy, I mean he was just an absolute monster. But again, the guy can't stay healthy for anything. I mean, so I was like, all right, well, we can gamble on Royce's health, we can gamble on Michael Harris, or I can gamble on the raw talent and see where it takes me. And not gonna lie, part of it is just me being, a fan,
Hmm.
excited to watch him play. He's an exciting player, So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's who my fifth. That's who my fifth was. But I literally was bouncing between Cruz. You named I mean, Cruz, Harris, and Lewis, and then it came down to Harris and Cruz, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna roll the dice on Cruz.
Interesting. I was not expecting. I thought that would have been too risky for you. Just knowing how you are and things of that nature. I
Mhm.
honestly thought that would have been too risky for you to consider. But that's I was not expecting that. I honestly wasn't expecting it. But good for you if that's what if you don't change your mind later. But yeah,
No,
it
I won't.
is okay. Well, but I mean, we all know. I mean, at this point, I think a lot of people know what the issue is with Ellie De La Cruz,
Yeah,
the high strikeouts. I mean, and also he's gonna take a lot of risks. And yeah, he's projected to get caught 8 times this year, which, what's the big deal? Well, those 36 stolen bases become 28 stolen bases. Oh, boo-hoo, it still hovers around 30. But those negative points add up, man. It might be the difference between winning and losing by half a point or whatever.
yeah,
But yeah, he is still projected. Yeah, one of the few players that is ranked high, but is projected to strike out well over 30% of the time this upcoming season, according to ATC projections here. But that you take that risk because you believe in that upside. You believe that
yeah.
all
I
of it's
mean,
going to be worth it, and he's going to take a huge step in year number two of his young career.
part of it too is if I'm being honest, part of it too is like I know if I let him go, and if somebody picks him up, and he does do what I think he's capable of doing, I'm gonna be kicking myself because whoever has him isn't letting him go, right? So yeah, we're gonna ride that. We're gonna try to ride that train.
Or somebody told me, well, if my prospects end up flopping, I will then trade them to you. Well, no. By then, I'm just gonna wait for you to drop them. I mean, I don't want to. Like, who are these people? Why would I trade for a guy that has flamed out? You know,
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
I'm just gonna wait for you to drop him. I mean,
but I think that's what's interesting though about this league with the minor league keepers, right? Like,
yeah.
um, I love. I mean, I love my two prospects, but it's crazy because both of them will probably be. There's a good chance both of them are on the MLB roster, right? So
Hmm.
if they're playing and that it becomes an issue of next year, all right, well, did they play enough? Did they prove enough? Are they going to progress enough to where I keep them or do I let them go and then allow somebody else to kind of like in Ellie's case, right?
Yeah.
Do I try to keep riding that, or do I give it up? I mean, in your case too, with Grayson Rodriguez, right? Like top pitching prospect, but is he good enough to help me now over the keepers that I'm going to keep?
Right.
So,
Yeah, the way I see it, I think a lot of people are mad. Like, well, no, I want to be able to own these guys for the rest of their lives. And no, the way I see these minor leaguers, like, no, you get the privilege of getting first crack at these players, but you know the consequences. You only get 5 players to keep. It's not forever. And then you got to make a big boy decision. Do you go with like what Steve just did and just say, I'm all in on Ellie De La Cruz. He was, I've been protecting him this whole time, and I want to see it go all the way through. Or do you do like me, where I don't have that patience? I'm gonna trade Julio Rodriguez because I think he's gonna go for a dip next year, and that's how
mhm.
I ended up with guys like Aaron Judge and Mike Trout, and ultimately kind of a wash so far because Trout and Judge, the established veteran players, are always hurt. Julio
No,
Rodriguez, I'm sorry, what?
no, 100%.
And
Yeah.
then, but Julio Rodriguez, I'm not gonna call it a sophomore jinx, but he definitely had a rude awakening last year. Things that
Mhm.
were coming easy were not so easy after all, and I mean, I still was able to win with him in my categories league over at the podcast league with him as my first round pick. I was still able to survive and win the championship, but my offense looked awful last year. It was really bad because
You know what?
he was the centerpiece
I
of that.
need
Go ahead.
I need to step away for 1 second here. Give me
Sure,
one
go ahead.
second.
In the meantime, I'll go on to the next player here. And we're gonna go with Austin and I'll probably tag him just to make sure that he sees that we're talking nonsense about his team. What's up, Melvin? Good to see you. Good morning, good afternoon. Melvin getting ready to watch games in person, thanks to getting credentialed by Major League Baseball. So that's a pretty cool thing to see him do. But we're gonna go Austin for his sixth keeper. I'm going to predict that he goes with Nate Iovaldi, just because I honestly I don't think Austin has a lot of options to keep. His team was a little bit more of a veteran team. I don't blame him. He had guys like Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado. Um, but when I saw his roster and I was looking for that sixth player, it just seemed a little thin. And Nate Iovaldi was the default sixth keeper, and Iovaldi was pretty good last year, but he too hit a wall. Like in late August and throughout September, he was useless. I had him in that same league I was just talking about, where I had Julio Rodriguez as my number one pick overall, my first round pick. El Valle was great for the majority of the season. Then come August and September, he looked tired. He was hurt. He was injured. He was nowhere to be found and nowhere to be trusted. So he was benched. That's the guy who held it down
Yeah.
in my pitching staff for the last 3 or 4 months. Can you hear me? Go ahead. You're
Yeah, no,
good.
I can hear you. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
awesome.
agreeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's take a look at Austin as I'm trying to finagle or multitask here. But yeah, there's Goldschmidt, there's Arias, Luis Arias from the Marlins, Nolan Arenado, Francisco Lindor. I mean, I've already named you some keeper quality players there. Fernando Tatis is another guy that's there. And then you get to his pitching staff, and I looked at his pitching staff, and it's not nothing special. I mean, Sandy Alcantara going down really messed him up because he built that rotation around Alcantara. Um, I forgot who else he would have had last year, but I don't know. I don't even know if it's worth bringing him back. He's not pitching at all this year at all. So that's why I
He
picked Nate
killed me in my other
Eovaldi.
league.
I'm sorry, what?
That killed me in my other league.
Oh, Alcantara.
Yeah, woo, that hurt.
Yeah. So by default, I think he's gonna be forced to keep 4 hitters, and or whatever. Yeah, this would be the sixth keeper. But if he had a sixth keeper, just based on who he has on his roster, I think Eovaldi would be the guy, and he's projected to get the lowest ATC projected points in this stack of 12 teams here. So any thoughts on Nate Eovaldi before we move on to your the guy you think is gonna get the next team that's gonna get the sixth player?
No, I think I mean, yeah, you pretty much summed up everything about. I mean, I like him on Texas, right? But I don't know. I couldn't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't trust him. But I mean, for what we're doing, that has to be the sixth on his squad. It would
Yeah,
have to be
because
because yeah, there's no other pitching.
no, there's no other pitching, but I mean, he has to keep Goldschmidt. I think Arenado is the second guy. Lindor's the
Mhm.
third guy on this. Fernando Tatis has to be kept. And then
Yeah.
there's really no pitcher here. I mean, his pitching has been pretty thin the last couple of years, and because his offense is so stacked, he kind of makes it work. But as far as a keeper quality pitcher, it was Alcantara, and he's not playing this year. So I figure that he's gonna have to keep a fifth bat, and like one, two, three, four, yeah, and then Luis Arias would have been the fifth bat, and that's it. I mean, if he had a sixth keeper, he's not keeping Estuary Ruiz, Jorge Polanco, Austin Hayes, Lars Nootbaar. So it's a very thin team, um, but yeah, Nate Eovaldi would be the sixth keeper there. We move on to Texas Sooner. That's John E's team. And you went with Braxton Garrett, who is going to be projected to get the second lowest amount of points in this league, in this
Tru
in this
yeah. I
exercise.
had a
Go ahead.
tough time, his was, when I was looking at it, I was kinda flopping. I'm pulling up the squad now here.
Go ahead.
They they were, because he's got Bobby Witt, Juan Soto. I believe, much like my Cruz dilemma, I believe he keeps O'Neal Cruz just based on possible upside, and then he keeps Jazz. Um, he also has, I don't know how to say the man's name properly, probably, but Mazataka. He's got him.
Masataka
So
Yoshida.
there, yeah. So it's like, all right, are you keeping? Are you if again, if he's keeping all five, he's another guy, five hitters. Because look at his, I don't know, his pitching is he doesn't really have anything. I mean, he doesn't have any like just really standout name. And I'm like, well, I mean, it sounds crazy, but Braxton is the only one who actually, in my opinion, you know, flashed any kind of upside that would be worth kind of taking a chance on. I mean, he's been out during spring break, spring training, but yeah, I just don't see any other because you can't. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you look at it, I don't think I even see a sixth bat.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, I think these are little hints that he's dropping here. I think Caminero actually would qualify as a protected minor league player unless he decided to.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess that's going to have to be fixed by the commissioner. But I think if we're to believe this, he's going to take the same chance that you're taking on Ellie Cruz. He's
Mhm.
If this is real, he's suggesting that he's going to take a chance on O'Neal Cruz, the other Cruz. We just had a complete episode last week about why it may not be a good idea to draft any of the Cruzes this year. But sure enough, you two are doing the complete opposite. You guys are going to go all in on all the Cruzes.
He
Um,
does have Josh Naylor, and as you know, I hate that man for no particular reason other than when he plays the White Sox, he just absolutely destroys them. And then his facial expressions when he walks off home runs, I just want to punch him in the face. But that's just
and
me being biased. But I mean, he's got a nice role carved out for him in Cleveland, so I mean, I guess you could, he could keep him.
yeah, I don't think he will though. I think
No, I
Yoshida's.
don't.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. I'm taking Yoshida over Naylor if it came down to it.
Yeah, and then Jazz Chisholm, maybe he'd be the better player to keep, I guess, just because of
Yeah.
the explosivity that he brings. He does have two minor league players that he need, and then Paul Skeens as well, so he can't protect them all. So maybe this is his way of saying, yeah, I'm gonna keep Junior Caminero, and that way I
Yeah.
can keep Jackson Holiday on my minor league slot. I don't have any good pitchers to consider, so maybe he will. Maybe he will keep four or five hitters, and then go
Actually,
with
you know what? He may keep exactly what he has. Yep. Those four hitters that he has in the starting lineup, and he might wind up keeping Yoshida.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then Jackson Holiday could stay in a minor league slot with Paul Skeens, and his obsession with having prospect players comes into full.
Yep.
Which I don't know, man. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm the guy who's like always, you got to draft for upside. Something's got to draft for upside. Don't forget to draft for upside, and that's what these prospects bring. But I think a lot of people go a little too crazy with, as you see from me, I just trade them away. Like, here, you want this guy here? Just give me your established player there. So, you
Well,
know,
I mean, like we talked about too, in a keeper league like this, when that minor leaguer comes up, is he going to do enough right out the gate to help your team enough to qualify him as a keeper over other guys that could help you win now. So I
Yeah,
mean, and you're just when you have all these minor leaguers, it's like, or you're high on the prospects. I get it. You want to hit on that next big thing, but you put yourself in a position to have to make a lot of decisions based off.
yeah. And then Braxton Garrett's already out with a shoulder injury, so
Yeah, they said he was going to be ready for opening day, or
that's
at
what they're
least he
saying. Yeah,
says he is. But um,
but yeah, there's
yeah,
little pitching. You still got Andrew Painter to consider as well, but you
I
know,
mean Bryce Elder, but
no, he's not. No, 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 no.
that's what
We
I'm
don't.
saying. Like, yeah, it's out in Atlanta, but what are you going to do?
There was Ryan Pepio, Brandon Font. So he has all these young players, and you can't use them all. I mean, it's cool to brag about it to yourself, like, hey, I got all these the next, I got like 5 of the top 15 prospects on my team, but you can't use them all,
No,
and
no.
they're all gonna go through growing pains. They're all gonna have to learn on the job. Only we talk about it every year that only a handful of prospects actually make an impact in fantasy baseball, let alone on their own teams.
Hmm.
But people continue to fall in love with prospects like they have like they're just supposed to linear in linear terms just you know become superstar players. Like then they're all on the trajectory to become superstar players, and I mean we just know that that's not the case. It's actually rare for real Major League Baseball teams where all of their top prospects become hits, like the Cubs in
Yeah,
2016, or if you want to consider the Royals in 2014. But yeah, a lot of people had given up on that core, and then all of a sudden 2015 comes around and they can't be stopped in the American League. Um, so yeah, I don't know what the obsession here is with having these. I mean, you only need two, and if you're not willing to trade, I mean, then if you're not willing to trade them, then you're just the Yankees from like the last 3 or 4 years, watching championships go to the Astros. Although I'm pretty sure Johnny might have won a championship recently. I don't remember, but anyway, that's Johnny's team. Let's go to Tim's team. That's your guy. The third lowest amount of fantasy points according to Ariel Cohen's ATC projection system, and you think that he's going to go with Jordan Walker.
yes, sir. Let me see what. Okay, so because he's got Vlad,
Yeah.
he's keeping him. He's got Devers. He's got his pitching was Garrett Cole.
Hmm.
He's got Logan Gilbert. He's got Scherzer, but Scherzer's going to be out.
Yeah, he's not
But
keeping
then
this
he's
year.
got Shane Bieber. He's got Duran. He's got Julio Urias. Like, I mean, I know Urias. Well, I don't. Is Urias even?
No, he's having issues, man.
Yeah,
He's in trouble. He's in trouble.
Oh, that's right, that's right, yeah, with the
Yeah.
yep. So, but so he's got I just feel like he's got so many pitching options, he's gonna go with 2 of those or 3 of those, and I mean, like I said, you have to keep Vlad, you have to keep Devers, um, and then he keeps 3 of those pitchers, and then he winds up, if he had a 6th, keeping Jordan Walker just based on upside. I like
Yeah.
Jordan.
So do I. So do I. He just looks like a natural uh hitter out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing to like a professional's professional hitter that he could develop like that. And there's degrees to all this. I don't think he's gonna be like a sole power hitter or like a sole run producer. I think he's gonna do a little bit of everything. Um, and he like think about Ben Zobrist. That's when I think of a professional hitter, or what the other guy's name from the Astros. He used to play for the Guardians, the left fielder, Michael Brantley. Like
Yes.
just guys with good batting eyes, and I know that he's a work in progress still, but I do believe that he could become that and still be productive. Yeah, but when if you had more keepers to keep, if you have if you had a more keeper slots, then yeah, you would take chances on guys like Jordan Walker, or even a guy like Josh Lowe, who he also has on his team. Tim does. Ooh, I forget.
Yeah.
I actually thought I was sharing that screen. Sorry about that. Yeah. Would you take a chance on Andrew Vaughn if you had like an eighth keeper on your team?
No.
No, of
I
course
don't
not.
I don't I'm not messing with I mean, I'm a Sox fan, but I'm not touching any of them because the minute I even look their way, they're gonna get like pull a hamstring or like stub a toe or something. So nope,
What a
nope.
mess. Anyway, let's move on to Robert. That's the commissioner. I went with Hunter Brown. That's another team where I thought was pretty darn thin. But Robert is a huge Astros fan, So I think if he had a six keeper, he would definitely go with a guy like Hunter Brown, who's still trying to develop as a pitcher to a lot of people's surprise. He's still learning on the job. I think because remember, he came up as a relief pitcher
Yeah.
with the Astros. He was starting uh, in the minors, but with the Astros, they needed him out of the bullpen. And I think the narrative goes that he was never quite was able to develop a third or fourth pitch. So he had a really good season on very limited stuff. But that just tells me that it's a guy that's still learning on the job. But here is Robert's team here, and I think Gunnar Henderson is a must keep for him. Captain Mexico Randy Arozarena is a must keep, and then you get a bunch of guys who are fringe at best, like George Springer, Hassan Kim. So at least he has two hitters, but then you look at his pitching, which traditionally speaking, it's always his bread and butter, but not a lot of butter here or bread. I mean, Framber Valdez, Edwin Diaz, definitely, and I guess either Paul Sewald or if you don't want to keep another bullpen guy, or I mean Alexis Diaz. So,
Well,
um,
yeah.
yeah, I mean maybe he'll keep the Diaz brothers. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
I mean, he could. Based on his, yeah, Framber, and then the Diaz brothers, and then
And then
yeah, Gunnar and Whitfield.
yeah,
Or
or
no,
I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps former Astros George Springer either. So that's why I'm like, well, I think in my scenario he was gonna keep George Springer. He's gonna keep two of these pitchers, and then if he had a six keeper, he'd go with the homer pick and go after Hunter Brown, who, like I said, I like, but I wouldn't consider him a keeper in a format like this, not even as a six keeper. So,
but
but
I mean, yeah, you're considering
yeah,
what here, yeah. No, I'd have to agree with that.
yeah. I mean, the homer picks are the most dangerous things you could do to yourself in fantasy circles. I keep telling people
That's
that,
why
but
I don't
nobody listens.
I do not touch. I'm telling you, I don't touch. I try my hardest not to touch White Sox players, just like I don't touch Bears players in fantasy football.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-mm.
definitely not the Bears. Although if Justin Fields becomes a thing, but he was supposed to be a thing this year, and
Yeah,
I saw
yeah. Well,
way too many people benching him. So that's
he,
all you need to know. Go ahead.
no, I was going to say you don't. We're not going to go down that rant because we'll need a whole nother podcast to talk about
Different pockets for a
that.
different Facebook group. Go ahead.
Lord, but
Houston Steelers is next. That's the other Steve. Steven gets to Steve and talk about Steve's team, and Steve's gonna break down analysis as to why Steve would pick the Stevens player. Jaimer Candelario, former Cubs, former Tigers, now with the Cincinnati Reds. That should be a
he's
fun team in
solid.
Cincinnati. Go ahead.
Solid guy. I've always liked him. I don't
Yeah.
know, like he's just a solid hitter. I looked at this roster and I was like, well, you have obviously he's gonna keep Semyon. He's gonna keep I'm assuming he's gonna keep Yelich, even though
Mm-hmm.
you took you a while to give him up, and then he actually did okay last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta assume Stanton he keeps,
No, no
but
way.
I you don't think so?
No, I think if he's gonna keep an outfielder, it'd be Brian Reynolds, and you kind of skipped over Spencer Torkelson too. So,
Yeah,
um,
but I don't know. I don't know. This is not moving. Looking at his pitching again. This is another team that just the pitching isn't there. That's why I was kind of like trying to figure out, well, who is he going to keep as far as if he's going to try to balance out hitters and pitching. That's why Torkelson. I was like, I don't. I mean, I look at it from a standpoint of, all right, if he's keeping. I mean, Torkelson, right? I just feel he can give him up and
mhm.
he can redraft him. He's
Yeah,
not gonna have a problem getting him. I mean, if he plans right. So that's why I was like, he could probably that. And I was kind of like with Brian Reynolds and Stanton. I was like, well, I think people get attached to Stanton's name, and that's the only reason why I see him keeping. I don't know. I have a feeling he'd keep him, but um, the pitching, like I mean, Paxton, don't trust
no,
him.
no, no.
Um, you have Kershaw hurt. You have Sonny Gray. I wouldn't use him as a keeper.
He might not have a choice though, but yeah, he has a hamstring. He's already
Luzardo, I've always been high on Luzardo, right?
yeah.
So I kind of when I was going over this, I'm like, all right, well, let's assume that he keeps Luzardo. I mean, and Gonsolin, he was out all last year, but when he was healthy prior to that, I had him. He was, I mean, got a lot of wins. He wasn't doing a lot of other points, but he got a lot of wins.
That's all that
Um,
matters. Go.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I had to go. I had to go with Jameer. I think that's who he would kind of plug in as a sixth. I mean, and then he gets dual eligibility, first and third. Yeah,
I
I don't know
think
what do you got?
I think he keeps Torkelson. I mean, he's so young. It's almost you kind of have to keep him just to see if it becomes a thing, like one of the more consistent hitters in Major League Baseball, or at least power run producing hitters. So Torkelson stays. Semin definitely has to stay. I think he keeps Reynolds over Yelich. That's my assumption.
You know what?
Uh,
I didn't even think about that. Actually, to be honest with you, I just assumed that's actually a good point. I,
Luzardo definitely has to stay. And I'm assuming, see, Javier, he's not worth it. Not this year.
yeah,
Not Kyle Harrison. I think he has no choice. If he wants to come in with winning in mind, then he has to keep Sonny Gray just to have two established starting pitchers there. And then the sixth keeper would probably be I guess
yeah,
either Christian Yelich or
like,
Candelario.
yeah,
Go.
yeah.
Yeah, because there's no other. Maybe he goes Homer and goes Christian Javier as a sixth keeper as well. So
I keep forgetting he's a Houston fan too, isn't he?
yeah, well, Houston Steelers, man.
There you
That's the
go.
name, Houston Steelers. But yeah, Candelario, I think that's gonna be a very interesting selection now with the Cincinnati Reds. Noelvi Marte just got suspended for 80 games, so now there's no
Game.
question when they're gonna be playing a lot of these guys. Candelario basically just earned a starting job by default. So you're gonna see a lot of him with a up and coming promising lineup in a very small ballpark in Cincinnati. You're probably gonna be able to get this guy super late in drafts, so I would strongly consider moving him up the chain or moving him up the standings.
Little
Go ahead.
value pick there.
I'm sorry, what?
You said a little value pick there.
Little value. Oh, it's more than value at this point. I mean, like I love that Reds team, and a lot of folks were surprised by what happened last year with the Reds, and I was like, well, I've been telling you guys about the Reds for a long time now. This is what we were expecting, and it's one of those
I
rare
will.
moments where. Go ahead.
I will give you that. You were warning about the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah. All they need is a little pitching. That's all, just a little
Hmm.
bit of pitching. I mean, if the Orioles can figure out how to maximize their mediocre pitchers, then so can the Reds, right? Because I believe in them all of a sudden. But but yeah, it should be a fun team. You know, should be a fun team this year. Let's move on to Nashville, where the Music City Star, that's Melvin's team. Melvin's team is, and was that you or me? That was on my pick. Uh, this was hard to gauge, but the big indicator here is Verlander got hurt with a shoulder injury. We don't know when he's coming back. Maybe by mid-April. And he made all these trades. I think he acquired Terry Scubal, Emmanuel Clase, and Blake Snell in trades. I don't know, Steve. When a guy trades for pitchers like this, days before keepers are due, I think that's a big indicator of who he's considering to keep, more than likely than not. So Scubal, Clase, and Snell, who were just acquired this past week, those are his keeper players. And then I think at this point you have to keep Evan Carter. Yeah, because then the next guy would be, I mean, you would think it would have to be Corey Seager. I would be shocked if Corey Seager doesn't come back to this team. But as you see, Seager's already hurt, groin injury. So who knows if he'll be ready for the season. But yeah, it's an interesting because this is what happens. You have Anthony Volpe as one of your protected minor league slot players last year. A year later, he's not ready, right?
Yeah, that's just it, right? I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah, he's still developing. He's still a work in progress. Even among the average draft positions and expert consensus rankings, he's like hovering around the 13th, 15th, 16th best shortstop. So that's not keeper material. Evan Carter, on the other hand, I mean, that's kind of like the thing with Ellie De La Cruz and O'Neill Cruz and taking a chance on these uber prospects going into year two, where Evan Carter appears to be on a faster pace to develop and meet that potential quicker than Anthony Volpe, and that could help right away this season. Um, so, and like I said, Volpe can be had late in draft as well. So that should be an easy one. So that leaves with who's the sixth guy? I think it's Justin Verlander. If he had a sixth guy, this guy is obsessed with Justin Verlander. But even he's starting to be wary of his shoulder injuries. But if he had a six keeper selection, I think that would be the time you take a risk on Justin Verlander because it's the virtual sixth round. You got nothing to
What
lose and everything to gain. Go ahead.
what pitchers did you say he was keeping?
The
I
guys
was trying
he
to
the guys he acquired. He acquired Scuball, he
Mhm.
acquired Clase, and he acquired Blake Snell this past week.
There
So
you go, yeah.
yeah, you don't make
So
those
wait,
trades.
what about, I'm looking, I don't wanna say it, but, because I wouldn't, but Dylan Cease, what what are we gonna get out of Dylan Cease, right? I mean,
uh,
at least you got yeah, I don't know.
somewhat you're not gonna get Cy Young deceased, but you shouldn't get last year's Cease either. So somewhere in the middle. I don't think he's the top 10 pitcher, but top 30, I think that would be okay with a lot of White Sox fans and a lot of guys who pick a lot of folks that pick Dylan Cease this upcoming season. Um,
Ju just pitch great through the first half so we can get a good return.
yeah.
That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking.
So we're waving the white flag on Dylan Cease already. It's
I'm
where have
waving
I
the
heard
white
that
flag with the
before?
White Sox already.
So excuse me, we skip Ellie De La Cruz, Mike Chuck because we already talked about them, and we go back to Mike's team. Balls out. Gleyber Torres is my pick there. As we've been kind of waiting, right? We've been kind of waiting on what do you call it? On Gleyber Torres to reach the hype that he received when he was a Cubs prospect and eventually a Yankees prospect. But he's just been, I'm pretty sure that he's forced a lot of Yankee fans to go bald just watching him play. Um,
Mhm. I mean, unless he's playing the Orioles, then it's okay.
oh yeah, yeah, right. But I mean, 462 projected points. I figured that what's this guy's name? Whose team is this? Oh yeah, Mike's team. Pete Alonso's gonna be there. Austin Riley is now have to be there. Luis Robert would have to be considered. I mean, Shohei Ohtani has to be kept. I think Buxton. Well, so I was gonna say Buxton comes with too many injury risks, but so does Luis
He does,
Robert.
but yeah, I don't that's tough.
And then Corbin Burns is your slam dunk at the rotation. You can't keep more of these pitchers next year. Coming into the season, I should say. I think it's Corbin Burns as your lone pitcher, and you have a list of four guys you can keep. I think I initially had thought that it was going to be Robert, that's one, Riley two, Alonso three, Burns is the fourth guy, and then Shohei is the fifth guy. So I mean that leaves either Byron Buxton, who's always hurt, or a steady second baseman and well, quote unquote steady as they get at that position. And now in these days, it seems like top five for sure. Top five second baseman plays for a competitive team, still a hitter friendly ballpark, and he's projected to get 2020 this upcoming season from a lot of publications and a lot of websites. So I think that would be worth the risk there. Gleyber Torres, how many, according to ATC projections, and this is the numbers I pulled from late February. So, but Ariel says that he doesn't always update these things. But yeah, 24 home runs, 13 stolen bases. So sorry,
Yeah.
2015 guy. I think a lot of folks would take that. Top 40 player. When I calibrate the points that we use in this league, Steven, into
Mhm.
ATC projections, he's a top 40 player.
Hmm.
Behind guys like Adolis Garcia, Luis Robert, Christian Yelich, and Manny Machado.
I
So,
had him for a little bit, but
so yeah, I was hoping that he could be a thing,
hang
and
on.
he hasn't. Moving on, who's the next guy? Oh, Adolis Garcia. So I feel we just talked about him. He is the third highest ranked player according to ATC projections. I'm not a big fan, but I understand people wanting to go and flock towards Adolis Garcia. But I think
Y
there's a lot of to his game that I don't like. But I mean, do you see it my way, or do you actually a big fan of Adolis Garcia here?
No, I see it your way. I think he's that guy right this year that people pay more for, and then when it all shakes out, they get that regression. They don't get kind of like Dylan Cease last year, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but his team now he's got he's got a decent team. So I mean, I was going with Harper, Altuve, Turner, Acuna,
Yeah, that's four right there.
and
And then you
then
still got Rushman.
And I'm glad you said that because I was really like, man, does he keep him? Like I kind of. I mean, I'm high on him, but I mean, for what he has, does he keep him or does he dip down? He's also a Philly fan, right? So I'm
Uh,
gonna assume
yeah.
he's keeping Aaron Nola. Yeah, because we've talked numerous times about a Zach Wheeler trade, trying to bring both Nola and Wheeler together for him, but we've never been able to kind of match up to get a deal done. But I got to assume he's going to keep Nola, which then leads me to believe that he's keeping. I mean, obviously Acuna, Turner, Altuve, Harper, and then I was like, yeah, I was like Rutschman. I was like, man, who does he keep? And then I just had to assume. I assumed Garcia would be the sixth,
Hmm.
just based on what we saw last year.
Yeah, you didn't even. I don't think you mentioned Freddie Peralta, who's supposed to
No.
have a breakout year this upcoming season.
And the only reason why I don't mention that, the reason why I didn't mention him is because, like, I feel he's going to go with the more homer pick of Nola.
Hmm.
And I still I don't think I can take Peralta over those hitters I mentioned. I
Oh
mean,
no, no.
so that's kind of where it leaves him at. Yeah, he's man. Yeah, he's look at the Phillies: Harper, Turner, Schwarber that he's got on there.
Yeah, actually, he acquired Carl Schwarber and he justified it. Hey, I know that he's a big second half player and he hits a lot of home runs, so I'm good with that. Man, just say that he's on your favorite team, man. Just say it. Come on.
Mhm.
Anyway, as my kid tries to huff and puff her way into my office, I won't let her in though. But yeah, Dolis Garcia, I think he would. If there was a six keeper player here, I think he'd be perfect. It's the South Jersey Strong Arms. That's the name of the team, and nothing says more strong arms than Adolis Garcia. We got to Texas, who won. I think he's the one who won the championship last year. He didn't even show up to the draft last year. Hashtag slow drafts are better. Um, but yeah, the auto pick bot, ended up picking like every single closer known to man, and that's how he
Yep.
was able to win. I mean, he won with Reed Detmers basically being his best starting pitcher. So what? But that does, I mean, does that tell you how bad this league is, or how just the clueless we were last year, or is it more of an indicator of how bad starting pitching was last season because of all the new rules? And at the end of the day, all of these closers, all these relief pitchers ended up being they reign supreme. And I don't know if that's a trend I can get on board with, but look at this. This is who we oh okay, Zach Eflin was the best starting pitcher on this team, I guess. But yeah, this is I don't know what to make of it, man. I just I know I don't like this becoming a newfound trend where relief pitchers you can count on them to get you over the top and get you to ignore the starting pitching aspect. What do you think of that? It's not his strategy because of the auto pick stuff, but what do you think of this strategy moving forward in this league, there, Steve?
I'm 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 with you. I think I'm gonna sound like a like an old man refusing to let go of old ways, but it's like no, no, I'm gonna reject that at every like it can't be we can't be going in that direction. But I mean, you aren't lying. The starting pitching last year, it was not good,
It was
and
bad, man. The
it
strikeouts were
was very
still up, but everything else was just bad.
yeah, and yeah, look at this roster. This is the team that won it all. Now, granted, right? I mean, timing is everything too with the playoffs. The fantasy playoffs, and then the closers he had. I mean, they were being used at the right time at the right moment, whatever. But still, I mean, that is not a pitching staff that I would be like, oh yeah, that's a championship team right there. You know what I
Regardless of
mean? Like,
format, regardless of format.
yeah,
But he made it
yeah,
work. He made it work. If anybody was gonna make it work, it would have been Shane. I mean, we agree that we liked his offense. It helps
yep,
having a real, and this is the difference. This is why I always scratch my head like, wow, you rather keep a prospect player over an established keeper. I mean, this is a guy that came in with five really good players. I'm pretty sure that they were all on the hitting side of things, and that's what got him over the top, and that's what basically uh made up for a questionable pitching staff. I mean, when you got a Freddie Freeman, and Ozzie Albies, and Alex Bregman, I mean, real professional hitters out there. Well, maybe not Albies so much, but Albies produces. All he does is produce. So I'm not even gonna bash him too much for his lack of craft and skills. But these are very steady players. Xander Bogarts, even though it seemed like he had a down year last year, I mean, that's a guy who knows how to hit. in Major League Baseball. JD Martinez, a guy that everybody skipped on. He ended up having a really good year last year, from what I remember. And Brandon Nimmo, have you ever had Brandon Nimmo on in this format before, Steve?
No. Or I think I might have.
Yeah, I think I might have too, but it's he's a real scat scratcher because he doesn't get you home runs, he doesn't get you stolen bases. Although last year he hit 24 home runs, but I remember that there were years where he wasn't doing, yeah, where he hit 16, 8 home runs and not even more than five stolen bases. So he's a single guy. He's like the Draymond Green of fantasy baseball, I guess, the quadruple single. But last year he
I
exploded for
wanna say
24 home runs. I'm sorry, what?
I had him. I had him. I think I picked him up for a minute to fill in for an injury. Then I dropped him, and
Yeah.
excuse me. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think. I don't know if it was last year though, but it might be because I don't think he had him the entire year.
Right, and I'm trying to see, yeah, 31 points on week 26, more than 20 points from week 23 to week 26, and 20 in week 21 he had 31 points. So surprisingly explosive player, despite the fact that he's very unassuming. But that just goes to my theory, which I'm going to be pushing, is sometimes or a lot of times a high on base percentage and even a high ops, which is the on base plus slugging percentage, could be an indicator for fantasy point success,
Hmm.
right? Because even because some this is a guy who struggles to put up like the traditional roto counting stats, but in on base leagues, this guy is on base percentage leagues. This guy is like, I mean, look at this, 40%. He got on base 40% of the time in 2021, and he only had 8 home runs and five stolen bases to show for it. Also a very low 246 points, but obviously he was hurt that year. I mean,
I was
yeah,
gonna say, I mean, there's only 92 games there.
yeah, there were a time that was his reputation. Well, actually, he played 55 of 60 that year in 2020, but in 2019, he played 69 games. So, so yeah, a very sneaky, productive player, very explosive at times, Nemo, but also hard to gauge because it's a lot of his production comes from just getting on base, which,
Yeah.
I mean, that's half the battle, but it's also limited as to how many points you can get out of him. Do you see it that way, or am I overthinking this, or do you see it differently?
No, I mean, so you have him as the sixth keeper.
No, I was just complimenting like his offense, but I thought I
Oh
had
yeah.
no, the keeper for him was this thing called Cooperate With Me. There it is. Ah, what the hell? Oh, great. Now, thanks, Steve. You just froze my computer. Oh no, it was Jordan Romano. So
There you go.
Jordan Romano's so underrated. Like he's pretty good. He's very productive as a ninth inning guy, but every year he struggles to crack anybody's top five. There's always five or six guys that are supposed to be better than him. There's always five, six, seven, eight guys that people draft over him. So I think Romano will be kept along with Devin Williams as the two relievers because you can't. I mean, you can't go. Me personally, you can't go into next year and not keep these guys. And Devin Williams is the goods, and Romano will be on another
Williams, yeah.
competitive team with the Blue Jays. So, but yeah, that's why that's my thought process. Like, yeah, I think you gotta stick with what got you to the dance, and that was with these relief pitchers. And
I was gonna say,
Romano, go
yeah,
ahead.
it's gonna be interesting to see what he does in the draft. I mean, if he's actually live this year to see if he sticks with that strategy, considering it got him this far. I mean, I have to assume you're right with. I mean, he's got to keep Williams. Um,
Yeah, and then four
yeah.
hitters. So that's what got him to the dance. So that's my thought process there. And we
Mhm.
got one more team. I think we're gonna be able to finish this within the hour. I'm shocked. That was a very fast episode. But
Moving
Kevin,
along.
but Kevin Gossman of the Evil Empire, yes, he is a Yankee fan. Yes, he lives not too far from me. So I'll be nice. No, I'm joking. Screw that guy. No, I'm joking. Kevin Gossman, though. I mean, I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be disaster with the Blue Jays because that's a very tough division. But all he does is, get Cy Young consideration and high strikeouts and the best splitter that anyone has seen in a long time. And that's something, that pitch that he throws 50, 60% of the time, or somewhere in that vicinity, which is just nuts to me to think of a one pitch pitcher still dominating. But if he had, if Juan had a six slot to keep, it would be I think it would easily be Kevin Gossman. What do you think?
Yeah, I think because I mean his roster. I'm trying to get if you if you look at his roster, I mean you got Olson. He's going to keep. He's going to keep Ramirez, and he's going to keep Corbin Carroll. Well, no, and
Hmm.
then he's got Mookie Betts, right?
Yeah, don't
So
forget about
right,
Mookie. Yeah.
you got those four, and then the pitching, which of course now there it goes. Then the pitching he's got. I mean, he's got Barrios, Gosman. You're not keeping Barrios, but he has Spencer Strider. So I'm like, well, you know damn well he's keeping him. Um, so for the sake of balancing it out, he's got to keep Gosman because the only other in my head when I look at it is I guess you could keep Bellinger, but I'm
No.
not. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't. I am not a Bellinger fan. I mean, and he's got Cedric Mullins too, but like they got Bellinger to projected at 507 points in this league. It's pretty high.
Yeah,
Um,
we may
but
not like him, but the projections like him.
yeah, I'm not a fan. But he, yeah. So you look at, I mean, for the sake of, I mean, you have a legitimate stud starter in Gossman, and if he's there as your sixth, your four bats that you are keeping are already very well established. So I'd assume you just go ahead and balance out that sixth if you had that sixth one with a pitcher.
So I do apologize. I said 45, 50, 60% of the time Kevin Gossman throws a splitter. It just seems that way, but I think I was mixing his fastball usage with his splitter usage. 50% fastball rate, 38% splitter, and a
Mm,
10% slider. So yeah, just fastballs and splitters, fastballs and splitters. That's how he's doing it,
yep.
which is quite remarkable. But I think 38.4%, that still has to be the highest among all starting pitchers. There's no way anybody throws a splitter that high of an amount. As I'm looking it up on the other
There's,
screen there. Go ahead.
there's nobody off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm thinking of, but I'm trying to think.
I
Let me
mean, I'm
see.
trying to.
All right, so I guess I should share this other screen with you guys. So there's a Fangraphs leaderboard with the pitching usage. There's a splitter. And sure enough, the only guy that comes close is Taiwan Walker.
Hmm.
So, and Logan
He
Gilbert is
didn't
at
even
14.8%. Go ahead.
he didn't even hit my radar as
No,
Walker for the splitter.
I never would have
Gilbert.
guessed in a million years. Nope. What were you saying about Gilbert?
No, I mean Gilbert. Yeah, I mean but I mean I didn't. I was thinking, but not as high. And then you have Kirby right underneath that too.
Yeah. So yeah, fastball primary for Kirby. Yeah, for Kirby, but then he also throws a sinker, a slider, and a curveball, and the occasional changeup, and the very rare tribute knuckleball. I don't know if you remember, but he threw a knuckleball the day that Tim Wakefield passed away last year. Yeah,
Oh
as
no,
a
I didn't. That's actually pretty awesome.
yeah, it was a pretty damn good knuckleball too. He actually got a swing and a miss on it, a whiff on it.
I will
Um,
be googling this when we get done.
oh, it's a very special thing that he did. That was
And
pretty
look at
awesome.
eat a salad. Lance Lynn is up there.
Oh, I don't know why he's out there. He doesn't throw a splitter, but probably is it the
Oh yeah,
fastball?
no, that's basketball. Yeah.
That's weird. But yeah, top 15 fastball thrower that he uses. A 23% cutter, Lance Lynn, and a 12% sinker. So he's going with movement and uh more craft and more change of speed type of situation there because the breaking pitches he's not even bothering and
No,
he's pretty much given up on the changeup at 7%. Because if you're throwing sinkers and cutters, that to me tells me that you don't trust your changeup anymore. That's what I'm guessing. Just out of curiosity, who throws the most cutters? Corbin Burns. Look at that. So 55.4% for a starting pitcher to throw that many cutters. Should probably make this larger. There you go.
I was actually just gonna say like I would expect that out of relief pitching, not.
Let's find out because yeah, you know what? I was guessing the same thing for cutters
Well, I mean, I
because
don't know. I mean, maybe it's just etched and burned into my mind of Mariano Rivera.
no, that's exactly it. That's exactly it, and it's worth noting because nowadays everybody's encouraged to throw their best pitch more often than not. But you're right. Look, all these guys, these six players have thrown their cutters 40% of the time last year, according to StatCast data, including Emmanuel Clase, which was already a cutter that was in the high 90s to begin with. So he threw a 100 mile per hour fastball, and he was coupling that with a like a 95, 98 mile per hour cutter. Or if it wasn't 98, then definitely I remember people talking about a 100 mile per hour cutter, which is just crazy to me, crazy to think, and a slider, 32% of the time. So yeah, I could
Man,
see that's a very imposing player, despite the fact that he only has two pitches. The cutter kind of, if you're a right-handed hitter, cutter is already coming at you at a fast speed, and then at the last minute it just breaks away. Well, the slider kind of does the same thing, especially if it comes at a fast speed, but then it really breaks down, and something that looked like a fastball is dipping way too much, and by the time you realize that you're swinging, I mean, that's the Luis Robert thing. You're swinging at a pitch way away from the strike zone. So that's how Clase is able to stay successful. Although last year I think he had two blown saves, and that was frustrating to deal with last season as a Class A owner in multiple leagues. Robert Stevenson is the other guy who broke out last year, although he's hurt at the moment. Angels probably next man up if something happens to Carlos Estevez, but ironically enough, Stevenson is the one who goes down. But he too was counting on high usage cutters and fastballs and sliders. So interesting. It's always interesting how these pitchers are able to develop their pitches and in terms of relief pitchers, how they're able to stay dominant by
right? I mean, and it because say what you want, but I mean, in my opinion, there's only so many that stay dominant over a long period of time. So when you have people that are just continually I mean, with two pitches, like it's really, really mind blowing to me that they're able to continue to produce at the levels that they do.
and then
And I mean,
sometimes
dominate.
and then sometimes you get, for every Felix Bautista who only throws three pitches, right? Primarily a fastball and was a sinker. Oh, splitter. So he
Mhm.
has fastball splitter and then the occasional slider. Well, Kyle Finnegan does the same thing too, but with less than stellar results for the Washington Nationals there. And he's supposed to be the primary closer. I'm still on my I'm still clamping down at the idea that Hunter Harvey, and especially in deep leagues, would be the relief pitcher to get with the Washington Nationals. That's just me though.
I mean, well, it's if they win enough games to be saved, right?
You never know, man. Those awful teams that they're the ones who depend on those ninth inning guys more than anybody because they're constantly in one run. If they're
With
gonna
those
win,
one, yeah,
it's
yeah,
1 2 run games.
yeah.
So yeah. So we'll see how that goes. And just out of curiosity, who's the guy who throws the most sliders? Oh, I don't even know who this guy is. Dowry Moreta,
I can tell you who
six.
swings at the most.
Luis Robert.
Has to be Javi Baez.
Let's find out. That's
That
what we're
guy.
here for. You got
I,
questions, you're curious about something, I'm your man. So let's find out because now you got me thinking here. So we're gonna go. I like to use pitch info. Let's use
I
pitch
think
info.
he's already like 0 for 12 or 0 for 15 in spring
It's
training so far with like a
mid-season
striker.
form, I see. Outside the strike zone swing percentage last year, Javier Baez, third
Mm,
place. Not
well,
surprisingly, Eddie Rosario and Salvador Perez are ahead of them because uh yeah, Perez and Rosario love to hack at everything out there. So, but still top five. Some guys are able to make it work, like Andres Jimenez, Ahmed Rosario, Nick Castellanos, Michael Harris, your guy, and there's Luis Robert in the top 10 because of course he is. Former White Sox player Jake
there's,
Berger because of
there's
course he
my
is.
boy Burger.
Yeah, so a lot of White Sox players on the top of this list. Yeah, in case you see, if you really want to laugh, here's the contact rates from the worst to the least amount of contact to the most contact. There's Jake Berger. That's why I don't like him. Same thing with James Outman. I pushed down James Outman deeper and deeper in my rankings, especially in my other leagues. Like I'm not dealing with this year. That's why I don't like Teoscar Hernandez because the contact rate is so low. I'm surprised Nick Castellanos is on this list among the 10 worst. But there's Luis Robert and there's Javier Baez. But look who's
I
there
was
in
going to say,
between
look
the
at
two
right
of
there.
them. Look at that. 68.7% contact rate to Bryce Harper. But that might have to do with the fact that he's only seen 41.9%, as always, 41.9% in the strike zone pitches. That means that this is a very low amount of pitches that he's seen in the strike zone. He's always among the league leaders and least amount of pitches seen inside the strike zone. And sure enough,
There it is.
number
Yep.
one. And not surprising, Perez is there. That's why he swings at a lot of pitches outside because everybody's afraid to throw to him on the inside. Alves, yeah, he'll hack at things. Um, and some of these, I mean, like Javier Baez, they deserve it. Like you haven't earned the respect
Just
to
I'll
throw it
keep
back in the
throwing you in
strike
the
zone.
batter's
So
box. Yeah.
yeah, so I'll
Just
throw. But there's another reason why I don't like Adolis Garcia. I mean, he shows up on the list, but he makes it work, right? He makes it work.
I mean, yeah. I mean, well, Matt Olson right below him too.
Yeah, I mean, these are intimidating guys, right? These are I'm not throwing a strike to Olsen, screw that guy, or to Shohei
Hmm.
Ohtani, or to Max Muncy, who could hit it 500 feet in the air. So you're gonna see a lot of guys who you know they demand respect when they're in the batter's box, but then you see guys like pitchers these are guys that they pitchers love to toy with, like Javier Baez and
Yeah.
Luis. Yeah, there's like no reason. There's no reason to throw any strikes at these guys until they prove otherwise. So, and while we're here, Luis Arias, because of course he does. Like this is video game
Jesus.
dominance.
Jesus.
Outside the strike zone contact rate, Luis Arias is the only one above, let's say, 79%. At 90% outside the strike zone contact rate, that's why he is always a threat to win the batting title every year. As long as he has those contact rates, that's half the battle right there for a guy like him. So
That is insane.
yeah. Uh,
Wow.
for a superstar player, Adley Rushman's on the top 10. So is Will Smith, who we all love here, the catcher from your Dodgers. There's there's Alex Bregman, Jose Ramirez, Masataka Yoshida, who we just talked about, Hassan Kim. So now we're getting to some of those borderline, if not slam dunk keeper players who can hit the ball outside the strike zone. And then you got Andrew Benintendi.
Yeah, that was a great signing.
Remember when you had him for a long time on your team?
Yep.
You're like, oh, he's gonna
Yep.
be a thing. He's gonna be a thing, man. The Red Sox love him, and then the Red Sox didn't love him.
He went
But
out and he decided to put on a bunch of weight, like muscle mass. And if you look back, like read up on him, yeah, he decided he was going to put on all like this is muscle weight, and then that for whatever reason that just it never translated.
so
It
that's
actually,
who.
made him worse. But
Go ahead, bud. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say it actually made him worse.
Yeah, and he was already on the fringe, right? But you would think a guy with his contact skills would take advantage of the Green Monster and the hitter friendly dimensions in Boston, and he just was a contact hitter primarily for the rest of his career, which was disappointing because yeah, you don't, and that's what I mean about taking chances with prospects, um, right? Oh, yeah, that's the obsession. That's the dangers of being too obsessed with certain prospects because they will hurt. They will hurt you more than they will help you. There's a lot of growing pains. You're almost better off just letting someone else deal with those growing pains, and you just focus on more surefire things, especially at the keeper, um, for the keeper process for the following season. But man, but different different ways to win and to achieve the same thing that everybody's trying to achieve here. So I don't want to criticize it too much, but at the same time, let's be realistic. Not all of these prospects are going to hit just because all these publications have certain prospects in the top two, top three, top five. Doesn't mean that these guys are actually going to become top five players overall in Major League Baseball. But it's
Usually,
always
the guys, from what I see, the guys that jump to the top of the list the quickest are the ones that don't pan out. It's the guys that like fell into that 15, 20
mhm,
range, and then they slowly over a couple years in the minors move up, and now they're they're those guys who hit the list like right out the gate. More, I mean, at least from what I can recall, those are the guys that really they're the ones who actually flash out.
mm.
They never really hit their full potential.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People got to remember that these lists that they're dynamic. They're always changing. They're always trying to go with the current trend. Today's number one prospect is going to be tomorrow's number six prospect for whatever reason. I mean, we saw with that
Mhm.
with guys like Jerry Kelenic, Dominic Brown, Jason Hayward. Um, what's another example? Oh, well, Casey Mize. Remember when he was a top can't
What
miss?
happened to him anyway?
Too many injuries, man. Too many injuries. He was always hurt. Same thing with Matt Manning. Remember that was going to be the Tigers, the next generation. Never panned
Mhm.
out. Now they're on their third or
Well,
fourth. And now they got Terry Scuball.
you kind of mentioned that with the Tigers too, about how that retool came a lot quicker than expected. When all of those other guys that were supposed to be the future window, they just didn't pan out. Now they're right back. I mean, they're actually in a good spot considering all of that took place.
Yeah, well, they traded a lot of those guys. They got rid of Jaime Candelario. They got rid of Isaac Paredes. Austin Meadows hasn't panned out, but now they're hopeful that Parker Meadows, his younger brother, can be a thing. Um, but and they got Cole Keith. They got I'm missing a guy. Well, obviously Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, Reese Olson, Tariq Skubal. This is just off the top of my head. I mean,
Riley Green was pretty solid last year.
yeah, and but
From a
again,
fantasy
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying from a fantasy standpoint. I mean, not a guy I'd keep, but I mean, he was pretty solid.
He looked like a guy who was starting to learn things, right? He looked like a guy who was,
Mhm.
oh, I'm figuring things out as I go, which is a beautiful thing to see. But it's still a work in progress. It's still a lot of growing pains to go through. Um, but if you decided to, oh, I'm going to keep Riley Green for the long haul, well, this is part of it. You'll get some
Mhm.
decent production, but then you also get a lot of inconsistency. Same thing with Spencer Torkelson. If you decide, oh, I'm going to keep him around, okay, well, now you got to make a big boy decision. Do you want to keep him around for another year? Or you want to release him into the wild and see that if you can get him back. Otherwise, the last 2 or 3 years were basically a waste of time, right? But
Mhm.
that's the chance you take with these prospects. That's why I've gotten to a point where I've I'm doing I'm taking a different approach with prospects. Either I use them as commodities to trade away, or I just they're more complementary pieces than actual players that I could see
Yes.
myself building around. I've tried that before with Christian Yelich, and it took forever and a day to get there. And then 2019 came and everything was justified. 6 years of struggle was justified. Do I want to go 6 years to do that shit again? No, I don't.
That is that right there. That is the problem. Can you justify keeping them when you have other guys that are proven that will get you? You know what you're getting from them. I mean, outside injuries, of course, but can you withstand keeping them through that? I mean, I don't know. Like my two prospects this year. I'm gonna guess that they're gonna come up, and I'm very high on them. But that's gonna give me a big decision to make. Um, next year. Okay, what did they do? Are they gonna keep going? Are they not? Now I have to choose between, you know what I mean? Guys like Julio Rodriguez and Tucker, and I mean those two. I mean, you know what I mean? Like you're not giving them up, and then
Right.
so yeah, it's yeah, that's why I like. I mean, I love the minor league thing, and I love the minor league thing in this league, but it makes for a hell of decision making process when you're really trying to pan it
Yeah.
all out during draft day.
Because I mean, the guy who, like, for example, like this year for Mike Trout, I'll be honest, I was asking for prospects and picks. Give me
Yeah.
that. I mean, we're both taking risks. I'll take a risk on a prospect that could be anything. He could either be the next Mike Trout or the next, I don't know, Brian Taylor. But Felix Pie or sorry, PA or Corey
Oh, I
Patterson.
forgot about him. Yeah,
Or if you want to go
true.
with the White Sox, Jared Mitchell, or there's another guy, super athletic freak player, but didn't pan out. One of Kenny's guys, I forgot who it was. Jared Mitchell, and oh, it's gonna kill me. Anyway,
I can
that's
think of it too, but
but that's the risk you take, right? So I'm asking for prospects, so it's kind of hypocritical, Felipe. But no, but that's the price. I'm not asking for a keeper quality player. I understand that there's risk, but you got to work with me here. Work with me help you. I mean, we saw these teams. They're not loaded. They're not. A lot of these guys are not loaded. I mean,
there's a handful, but yeah, no, there are enough teams in this league that easily put Trout, plug him in, and he's a keeper ready to
that
go.
that we he would be worth risking. He would
Yeah.
be worth it. Even if we had a six keeper, that definitely six keeper. I'm not even trading. Oh no, he's my lottery ticket this upcoming season. If he flames out, oh well, it's a 6 round pick. Uh, you know, but
Hmm.
But that's the thing. There's such a thing as being too attached to your favorite players and your favorite teams, and there's a thing being attached to prospect players. who haven't panned out yet. Look at me, Noel Marte. Like, oh, I'm gonna keep Noel Marte because I had him in my minor league slot all throughout the year, and I would hate to lose out on that production, on that promise of a Noel Marte. Like people act like these are trading cards. They're not. Like the idea is, can he help you win now? The answer is probably no. That's why I'm not keeping him. And then lo and behold, 80 game suspension. Oops. I mean,
Popped.
that's part of the risk. That's the risk. I'm waiting for that pop to happen to Ali De La Cruz. It's coming. Watch.
No, no, no. My boy's gonna be okay. He's gonna be okay. I'm gonna speak it into existence.
Manifest it into reality. Sure, why not? Um, but yeah, it's I don't know. I think because I mean, don't get me wrong, I get the appeal, but I think a lot of folks would be better off just treating their prospects, not all their prospects, but some of their prospects, to treat them as commodities to be used in trades. That's what all the good teams do. That's what the Braves did to get Matt Olson and to get Sean Murphy on on their team. They said,
I want to
yeah,
say Donald Henderson was. I had him. I know I moved him. I moved a couple prospects over time here. Because in the moment, like I said, I traded what's his name to you. Grayson Rodriguez.
yeah, you did. Yeah.
That we
Uh,
did, which didn't pan out either way because what's his name? Woodruff was part of that deal, and well, yeah, that
but
didn't work.
that's the risk you take. You were making a playoff push, and I was just trying to restock my prospect slots.
And honestly, if he stays healthy, I mean, we could play the what if game all day long, but if he stays healthy,
I'm sorry, who's he?
Woodruff,
Okay, go ahead.
if he stays healthy, for me, I mean, those points, there's a good chance, you know what I mean, that I'm going a lot further. And again, it's just a chance you take. But because at the end of the day, is Grayson Rodriguez going to do anything for me right now? No. Is there a guarantee he's going to? No. I know Woodruff healthy, what he's capable of, what he's doing, right? So you have to take, yeah, you have to take those chances, have to take those risks.
Yeah, and it's not like this nefarious plot to screw the other guy. No, I mean, excuse me. That's the because Grayson's not going to be ready. And then, sure enough, the next year when he was basically given that rotation spot, he bombed,
Yeah.
and then he was brought down and brought back up, and then brought back down again, and then brought back up again. Eventually, he started figuring things out, but it's still a work in progress.
Well, and that's just and I really think he's gonna figure it out. I think he's gonna be something, but from a fantasy land purpose, you can't justify keeping him at this point.
No, no, but he is going in those middle rounds where a lot of really good pitchers are available at that time. And let's finish with that. I want to play a game with you. Draft Fantasy Pros. Let's play a quick game, and then we call it a night, call it a day. Hope everybody enjoyed this episode. Hope everybody learned something. And I hope the Mardi Gras guys got a kick out of us trying to figure out what their plans of attack are for this upcoming season. So let's go to 2024 rankings. Let's see what the experts say because they are our guys. You know what? And before I even do any of that, as you know, our baseball life league is going on right now, and that's the first year no keepers. The second year we do three keepers, and then we do six the second year. Sorry, the third year, and then the final year we do nine keepers, 3, 6, 9, one more time.
Mm.
But now this is year zero. We start over all over again. So now we get to build our teams, but it's based on the results of brackets, of loser brackets and championship brackets. Uh, you know, if you win a certain bracket, you get the first pick overall. Because I don't want anybody just giving up like that. You play to win the game.
Yeah, no, yeah,
So
you gotta put things into in some leagues, yeah, you have to make sure that there's a little safeguard so that people just don't lose interest and just give up.
so even though Aaron wasn't the worst team, I think that might have been Jet. I think Jet was the worst team, Jet Dry. But even though Aaron was not the worst team last year, she did qualify for the bottom four tournament to get a chance to win the first pick overall, which she did. She won her two games and won the loser bracket there. And for her trouble, she gets the first pick overall. And with her first pick, she picked Ronald Acuna.
Shocker.
I mean, right? I can't believe she did that. I thought she didn't like Ronald Acuna. But here's the Fantasy Pros expert consensus rankings, and so far, if you follow along on the draft so far, Acuna goes to number one, Mookie Betts goes number two, Corbin Carroll goes number three, and then Shohei Ohtani number four, Juan Soto number five, Julio Rodriguez number six, Spencer Strider number seven. Was not expecting a pitcher to be selected that soon, but Kyle Tucker at number eight. So far it's pretty vanilla except for the Spencer Strider pick. But that I don't want to make it too easy on you, man. I don't want to make it too easy on you. That's child stuff. That's no, 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 no. We're gonna go all the way down and see. Wait, first of all, why is this out of whack? That's what I want to know. Why does it look like that? Oh, because it's okay, ADP. Okay, okay. So look at this column right here, the ADP, average draft position. And let's start at number 40. Wait, hold on. We're 12 team league. So okay, 48. So number 49. Pick number 49 would be the beginning of the sixth round, the virtual sixth round after our five keepers are, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so
Look at that. There's your boy Trout.
there's my boy Trout. Well, now here he's outside, but as you can see, expert consensus rankings has him right there on the brim of being a keeper player as well. So it's pretty darn close. But let me see. Of these players, who would you pick? Oh, wait, I just made it bigger. And oh, I see what happened. My bad. Sorry about that. Let's go back to pick number 49. Well, Screwball's gonna be kept, I think. So start
Yeah.
with Framber Valdez at number 50, if this stupid thing wants to cooperate with me. And I expanded a little bit more. So who would you pick number one overall if you had the first pick overall
In our league,
in our league? Yeah.
ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, well, you think, I mean, the Framber Valdez is the top of the guy there. We know him from the Astros, Max Fried from the Braves, Josh Hader, the new closer for the Astros, Mike Trout, the man in question, ranked ahead of Cody Bellinger, Freddie Peralta, Edwin Diaz, Nico Horner, Emmanuel Clase, Paul Goldschmidt, Kyle Schwarber,
I'm
Nolan Jones, CJ Abrams, and Blake Snell. A lot of good
and
players here.
I'm not a big relief pitcher guy in our league, but I'm going Class A.
Really, over Hader?
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, well, I think I would do the opposite. I think I would pick Josh Hader. Uh, yeah, better team. I think he's whatever was happening with him, it's all resolved now with the big contract. So, are you
Uh,
picking Class A because he's younger?
yeah, I mean, and yeah, and Hader, that whole little meltdown that he had, that,
What about
maybe
Edwin
I'm
Diaz
overreacting.
though?
You know what? I didn't even I just looked at it. I mean, you know what? And you highlighted it. I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute. Mm. See, no, no. Here's the issue now. Now you're debating between Diaz, Clase. Based on how my team is, I gotta go pitching. So, mm, you
Tough
know what?
decisions. Yeah.
I might actually, considering how my team is built, and I'm not a
Uh-huh.
big closer guy, I might have to change that answer because, also right above Diaz, Freddie. I'm probably going Freddie Peralta there.
Over Blake Snell, the Cy Young winner.
Yeah, no, Blake Snell. No, 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 no. Not dealing with Blake Snell. Nope, 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 nope.
Really? You don't trust
Nope,
them, or
nope.
is it the
Don't
whole
trust
contract
him.
situation?
Don't trust him. Don't like he's yeah, the contract thing in the past. Like, nope, I don't trust that guy. Like, what happened to all of it? Like, yeah, no, I don't. Nope, 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 nope.
What's the primary
What?
concern? What's the primary concern there? I'm
Well, because
curious
if
now.
you look, I gotta pull him up here. Hang on here.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Where is he at now? When you went and because was his issue injury for a while, or what was it when he kind of
Ah,
started? Because he was and then he was the one with the contract thing too, right? Like
right now he's dealing with a contract situation with because Scott Boris is his agent.
yeah. I mean, look, he just maybe it's just me being biased, but the guy seemed. I mean, his numbers were. I mean, look at 2022, 2021. I mean, he really wasn't. I mean, and he was hurt in 2020, or no, maybe that was
That,
shortened. I
that
don't know,
was a
but
shortened year. That was a
yeah,
shortened year.
shortened there. But I mean, this guy, I mean, what a 4 point, I mean, really 4.0 year, 4.29, 4.20. He just, I mean, it's hit or miss. I don't think he's consistent enough for me to put all my eggs in that dude's basket.
This,
There's something about him and his consistency. I don't know if he's in his own head sometimes or what, but I don't trust him.
well, the first thing that sticks out is the walk per nines. It's close to five. This is why I did not. If I had a vote, I would not have voted for him for Cy Young. It's just
Mm,
there's a guy who has double digit strikeout per nine, but doesn't give up this many walks. And his one knock against him is that everybody used against him was this other guy had a very high ERA, which, as we know, ERA is a very antiquated system. But everything else about him said the peripherals were right. But this is a red flag for Blake Snell, the 4.95 walks per nine. I know he makes it work, but in a current state of Major League Baseball, where the best starting pitchers are able to limit their walks almost to us, almost to dust at this point, that's a red flag. He go like you say, he goes from a guy who was getting tagged for a lot of home runs, but magically he gets to San Diego, a very pitcher-friendly ballpark, and he's keeping those in check all of a sudden. A 256 batting average on balls in play. When we all know, I mean, I don't know how much of an analytics guy you are, but I mean, this isn't anything too complicated. 300 is usually the average. 300 is, even
hmm
keel. This to me shows that he could probably gave up a lot of fly balls and took advantage of the massive surroundings. An 86.7% left on base percentage, which is that's a pretty indicator that he was more lucky than I don't want to say more lucky than good, but he benefited from a lot of luck, a lot of uh, uh, just a lot of inconsistent hitting that he was facing with runners on base. So and then 44.4% ground ball rate. So it's not like he's dominating in that way either, which kind of makes me believe that maybe that it is a lot of fly balls that he's giving up. And there's the peripherals. Yeah, 2.25 ERA. That's good, pretty darn good. But a lot of the other peripherals, the ERA peripherals show that yeah, he's more of a 3.36 guy, 3.60 guy instead of a 2.25 guy.
No, 100%. Yeah. And then again, right? That's solid. I mean, that can be solid, but not for what I mean. I was surprised he got the Cy Young, to be honest with you.
No, I mean people. I mean the fact. I think a lot of it with Spencer Strider last year was the fact that if you a vote for Blake Snell was a vote for traditional ways of evaluating talent. The ERA. I mean, even though the WHIP was pretty low at 1.19, so I'll give you that. Despite the fact that he gave up double-digit walk percentages, 13.3%. Uh, but that must mean that he wasn't giving up a lot of hits, and people saw that. And I agree. I mean, he limited his base hits. That's honorable, but so did Spencer Strider. Spencer Strider did it in a more dominant fashion, but the problem with him was that his ERA was close to 4, but all his peripherals were pretty minuscule compared to Blake Snell.
Yeah.
So there's a guy that did not benefit from the same good luck and good fortune that Blake Snell did. Um, but that's who they went with. And so basically a vote for Blake Snell was a vote for traditional evaluation using traditional statistics to evaluate players, and Spencer Strider was the analytics darling. So naturally, screw the analytics, screw the sabermetrics. Let's go with this guy. Plus the fact that Blake Snell, a lot of it, I mean, Sierra, which accounts for batted ball data, is above 4.
Yep.
That just shows that how good Ha-Sung Kim was throughout the infield and how good Manny Machado was without even looking at the defensive numbers. But I mean, Manny Machado is still considered one of the best defensive infielders, third baseman in all of baseball, despite the fact that he's getting older. Xander Bogaerts held his own at shortstop, I guess. Jake Cronenworth may not be the biggest hitter, but he's a very flexible, versatile defender. And
They're
we're not
moving
even,
Bogarts second, aren't they?
and that's gonna be awesome. That's good.
Mhm.
That's gonna
Yeah.
be great. So there was a lot of good defense being played for Blake Snell. He was in a pitcher-friendly ballpark. But at this price, I might consider Blake Snell over some of these other guys. I think I like Blake Snell better than Framber Valdez, better than Max Fried. Even even if regression comes to him and the luck starts to even out, I think Blake Snell is still at the price that he's going is still more dependable than some of these guys I just mentioned: Valdez, Max Fried, even Freddie Peralta and his injury history. Um, And I guess the only guy I would not consider getting him over is Josh Hader. over Blake Snell, but I don't count out Blake Snell just yet. So I'm just saying it might pay off at the end. It might pay off at the end for those who are kind of waiting for him to get on a team already.
Well, if you pick after me and Blake Snell's there, I'll make sure to leave him there for you.
Oh,
You got my
appreciate it.
word.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't even know who I'm gonna draft, who I'm gonna pick. But yeah, there's Grayson Rodriguez at pick number 71 or thereabouts. So that becomes now, since we talked about it, let's see. Grayson Rodriguez over some of these pitchers that are going after him. Grayson Rodriguez or Jesus Luzardo.
Oh, wow.
Who do you get? Luzardo or
I-
Rodriguez?
I'm
Gun to your head right now. Just make a decision. Gun to your head.
I've always been high on Luzardo. I'm taking Luzardo.
Okay, Luzardo or Eflin.
Mm,
Zach Eflin from the Tampa Bay Rays. Sorry, Zach
damn,
Eflin.
that's a coin toss to me.
No, you got to pick one. Got to pick one. You got 5 seconds. Five, four. If
Mm,
you don't pick, the auto draft
give
does it for you, and then everybody loses.
give me Eflin. Give me Eflin. Yeah.
Wow, did not expect that. Did not expect that. Wow. Okay, Zach Eflin or Bobby Miller. Five, four, three,
Uh,
2, 1,
give
go.
me Eflin. Give me Eflin. Give me
Okay,
Eflin.
okay, okay.
Mm.
And let's do one more. Eflin or Yuri Perez from the Marlins.
Shit. Now I like you. Oh,
But it
I
goes
like
back
Perez.
to what we talked about. Yuri Perez is this year's version of Grayson
Yeah,
Rodriguez, apparently.
100%. Yeah.
You want to deal with that
Oh,
again?
yeah. No, I mean, and that's just it, right? So yeah. I mean, Eflin. Who's the other guy in Miami? They have Yuri Perez. There's another young kid out there that was supposed to.
Luzardo, Edwin Cabrera,
Or Edwin Cabrera. That was another guy that I was like,
Sixto
oh yeah, hey.
Sanchez.
No, it was Cabrera, and I remember thinking, oh man, this guy's gonna be, and he hasn't really panned out.
Sorry, Edward Cabrera, not Edwin Cabrera. There's also Max Meyer, who's coming back from Tommy John surgery. He might get some starts. AJ Pook might also get some starts while Braxton Garrett, sorry, figures out his stuff. We were watching Poor Things last night, and it was about the Baxter family. Um, have you seen Poor Things yet? The
No,
Oscar-nominated film. I
I didn't.
suggest you make sure the kids aren't around.
It's called Poor. I'm gonna put this in my notes right now. What is it called?
Poor Things, starring Emma Stone,
Oh, I'm
where
I'm an Emma Stone fan.
where the director basically convinced Emma Stone to be naked for a lot of the movie. So
Oh, well, there you go.
yeah, the kids cannot be around. I told yeah, there was a scene where like okay, I go to my wife and go, okay, come on, either put her to bed or we got to watch something else. We can't be watching this. So she put her to bed. So she put her to
Decisions
bed.
were made.
So decisions were made. Yeah, don't watch Poor Things with the family. It's not a family movie. It's Emma Stone agreeing that she's gonna
Hmm.
be naked for a good chunk of the movie. So there you go. All right, well, that's a good place to stop there, Steve. On the Oscar, the Oscars are tonight. Keepers are due tonight. Any last words before I let you go?
No, you know what? I'm gonna wish you good luck. I'm gonna wish you good luck this year. You know
Same,
what? You
same.
you 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 grind away and last couple of years,
Uh-huh.
your team, when I look at it, I'm like, yeah, you should be making some noise. And you're absolutely right. I will give you this. When we play, I tend to come out on top, but there's just for some reason your team doesn't show up when it comes
I,
time to play me during those
I don't
weeks.
I don't freaking get. It's been something I've been. Everybody likes my teams after the draft, and there was a point after some of these drafts where I was not happy with my team, and people thought I was crazy. Look at your squad, but everybody throws me compliment. Man, you got a lot of talent in that team. How did you do it? I don't know. You guys left me those players for me to pick. All right, so I'm thinking I'm gonna have a great year, and then every year, like, what the hell's going on? Why is nothing coming according to plan? And I know that it's because I refuse to partake in the two-start pitching strategy that everybody else does. 'Cause I just think that the
Oh
pitchers I have
yes,
are always better than anybody off of waiver wires. But even when I utilize that strategy like everybody else does, it seems like when every team picks these crap ass starting pitchers because they have two starts and they don't always have the best matchups, they get like 50 points that week from their starting pitcher for those two starts. If I use the same strategy, I get like -1 point. Like, what the hell? Why
well,
can't this work for me?
I have always been, and not
Wow.
just I've always been a spot starter. Like I love looking at the matchups. I will not force two-start pitchers for the most part. I will not force it if the matchups are not good. There are people in this league that I've played, and I'm like, oh yes, go ahead, you go ahead, plug him in, give him his two starts because it ain't gonna, it's not gonna be what you think. And but no, I love doing the two-start thing when the matchups are right. I have to beat there's some guys on here I have to beat though. Like right at the fucking beginning of the week, it's like, oh, hurry up, check out your two starting
You start
two
pitchers,
start
yeah.
pitchers for
For
the
the
week,
following week, yeah.
yeah, for the following week. But even in the other leagues that I do, where you are changing the lineup daily, yeah,
Mhm.
I don't have a problem like spot starting guys throughout the week, and I don't know, I love playing the matchups sometimes, but
Yeah, that
yeah,
could be fun.
yeah, I'm gonna wish you good luck coming up. We're in the same division though, aren't we?
No, no, it changed. We were for many years, and I
Good
thought, oh, good, I
because
got them
yeah,
all to
then I mean,
myself. I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna get, and I never got you. I never could keep up with you, and it's just so very frustrating. Very frustrating.
well,
Like again, everybody
like
has
I
a
said,
white whale.
you get your spreadsheets in order, and maybe you'll take take that championship home finally.
Nah. With my luck or lack of luck, Aaron Judge and Jordan Alvarez will be hurt again, and I'll have these
Him
vultures coming up
him
to me.
getting hurt
Goes,
last year hurt you. Alvarez really hurt. That hurt.
yeah, but then I found outfielders that took their spots, which was natural because of from what the data that what we shared is that pitching is down. I was
Yeah.
able to just plug in whatever outfielders, and that's one of the reasons I thought I had a chance because my outfielders that I picked up from waivers kept me afloat. Every player that I picked up from waivers kept me afloat as I managed through injury, through injury, through injury, through injury, and it was like I felt like my team was more hospital than baseball team because I was constantly dealing with injuries. And ironically, the one guy that stayed healthy throughout the entirety of the season was Tyler Glass. Now,
That's the irony, huh?
yeah, and then Zach Gallen all of a sudden can be a horse starting pitcher, and then that because pitching was so bad last year, but I had so many injuries on my pitching staff that I had to trust all these prospects, which is a good strategy in the short term, but long term it's awful because these guys are again for all the reasons we just mentioned, they're all learning on the job. They're all trying to figure things out in the major league level. Go ahead.
I'm looking back right now, and yeah, I was 3-0 against you last year, so it's going to be hard to keep that up. But
Terrible.
yeah, look at the one week that I scored 224, where I mean that should be a losing week, right? You scored 198.
Oh man, come on. Don't remind me.
Yeah, and
Ah,
then
and I got,
yeah, so you know what? Yeah,
of course that freaking happened. But it happened a lot. You weren't the only one. I suffered a lot of low
mhm.
scoring losses. You could say, well, but get a better team. Like, well, apparently I do have a good team, but it's just for whatever reason that doesn't show up. I mean, you think having Bo Bichette and Manny Machado on your infield would bring stability? It didn't. Didn't. Those were the two guys that decided last year that they were going to go on regression. And so, yeah, I'm not happy. But like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, everybody has a white whale. Everybody has a Moby Dick that they chase. This is my Moby Dick. This is the elusive fantasy baseball league that makes me question everything that I do around here. But I must be doing something right because I'm in the category leagues that I'm in. I'm pretty successful there. So something has to give. One day I'll unlock this because at the beginning, not to talk off or just talk your bleed your ear off or whatever the saying goes. But at the beginning, when I started doing the fantasy baseball stuff, all I did was points league, and I was pretty darn good at it. That's why I thought I was invincible. That's why I went up to a 40-year-old guy. Hey, I was a teenager. Hey, can we do what they call a keeper league? And I was annoying the crap out of him all year long in the public league that we were in. He goes, "You want to join a keeper league with me? Okay." Let me. And I was on the recruiting trail. I recruited Dave Primavera. I recruited Robert. I recruited I think I even recruited Mike. Just from the old Sandbox website. I don't know if you remember what Sandbox was, but um,
No, no.
yeah, at one point it was like the most popular in the early to mid 2000s, the most popular fantasy website that you can get. Um, every and the Sandbox sports forums were just I mean, they were crazy. It was super active and it was very exciting times, right? But that's all I did was just points leagues. And I don't know, I get to this league and I collect some of the guys that I played against and some guys that show that they could be an integral part of this league for years to come, and which they have so far. And I realized that I just was recruiting a bunch of killers,
Well,
and then I bring you in.
maybe I do have. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be my 8th year. I do have a championship under my belt and multiple playoffs and division wins. I don't want to toot my own horn here, but
Oh, why not?
hey,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
maybe when you break that curse, maybe
Hmm.
you will go on like a dynasty run. You never know.
Yeah,
Never know.
with a 40-year-old Aaron Judge and a gimpy kneed Jordan Alvarez. Yeah,
Yeah.
as I offer hints as to who I'm keeping for the next year. Um, but I mean, it can happen. I saw Robert hold on to Randy Johnson forever, and that ended up working for him. I saw the guy who owned Barry Bonds, also owned Albert Pujols, and he was happy with Barry Bonds as a 40-year-old. Why not? Or near 40-year-old. So maybe I can
Yeah.
expect the same thing from Aaron Judge and guys like that.
Start just randomly, find where these guys live, ship them some HGH, and let them roll.
Oh man, I love those guys who cheat. You know why? Because they cheat. They win by any means necessary. Let me ask you before I let you go. I guess I should have asked. Is there a player, an unknown player that you think exists out there that you're very high on coming into these drafts?
Mm. No, you know what? No, not unknown. I don't know.
Relatively unknown, though.
I'm trying to think. The pitching last year screwed me up because, like, normally I have a pitcher on my radar. Like, this year, like, I just don't trust. Like, you see, I'm weird, like, with trust issues. So, like, Blake Snell, even Hader having his little mental breakdown and stuff. Like, nope.
Uh-huh.
I just don't. I don't have anybody that's like jumping off. Well, I'll tell you, I have a player on my team that I'm really high on, but I don't really want to speak on because I'm going to hope that he's there when I try to get into the draft. But um, yeah,
Coward.
I what's that?
Coward. Don't be a coward. When you accept an invite here, you got to be open like a book. I
Oh,
am. I am every week.
we got to
Why? What
sign. We
makes
got
you so special? What makes you so special, huh?
no. We already spoke about him, but his injury past worries me. But I really, 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 and he's obviously known, but just because of his injuries, I think people may sleep on him. But Royce Lewis was just, man, was he a gem last year? An absolute gem. But you know what? Abrams too. I think Abrams put together a pretty solid campaign for Washington. Both of those guys.
Royce Lewis going number 64 overall, according to average trap position. But yeah, Royce Lewis, former number one pick overall, and former number one prospect overall. And like you said, the injuries, that something about the Twins, man. Buxton can't stay healthy, Lewis can't stay healthy. And who was the other guy you talked about?
Abrams from
Oh, right, right, right. Wow,
he
he's right
he
there,
was
62. It's right in front of
yeah.
me. Oh, look at that.
Yep.
The triumvirate of CJ Abrams, Blake Snell, and Royce Lewis.
So you know what? I'm gonna actually have to say that Abrams is probably the more of the, if you want to say, unknown. I mean, um,
Surprised he's
that
going this
that,
high though.
that would be higher on. What's that?
I'm surprised he's going this high though at pick number 62 according to ADP, 19 spots ahead. Wait, what? What does that mean? Oh, so even wait, what the hell does this mean? I thought I knew what this versus ADP. So ADP has him as, oh, okay, so I guess 43 minus 62 is 19. So he's the 43rd best player according to expert consensus rankings,
Hmm,
but he's going 19 picks after that consensus ranking at number 62. So
interesting.
that's good value. Yeah, getting the 43rd best player at pick number 62. I think many people would take that. Sure. Let's see. Anybody past pick number 100 there that tickled your fancy? So we're talking about Cole
Mm,
Reagans, George Springer, Yandy Diaz, Evan Carter, Tanner Bybee,
there's
Yainer
there's
Diaz,
there's Torkelson there, which
Spencer
is interesting.
Torkelson at number 109.
That is interesting over
A lot of good
there.
players here. A lot of good players.
Yeah. I mean, even yeah, I mean, catcher, yes, but Yanier Diaz was, I liked him last year a lot too. Um, Re- hmm. Reagan, Cole Reagan's, what is that how you say it? Reagan's. I
Right,
had him on
yeah,
my.
Ray
Yeah, I had
Reagan's.
him, and he. I mean, held his own. I don't know if I'd take him there, but
I'm starting to grow on. I was so against it, but now I'm starting to accept the idea of having Cole Reagans on all my teams. So
there you
they
go.
the experts have finally talked me into it. I think my guy would
Oh,
be
Evan
Evan.
Carter's there too.
I'm sorry, what?
Evan Carter.
Yeah, I was just gonna point that out. Yeah, Evan Carter, and he's going 9 spots ahead of his ECR, the expert consensus rankings. Has I think a lot of league owners are not taking any chances. Like, oh, he could be available in 9 picks, but I'm gonna take him right now at spot number 103.
Look
Uh,
at Sonny Gray and Bassett down there. How far ahead they're going. Wow.
let's see. Yeah, this is I think this is like Sonny Gray where he's ranked versus where he's being picked. And so same thing with Chris Bassett. That's owners panicking at the idea, ah crap, after this, there's like no more good pitchers.
Pictures. Yep.
Let's find out. Is that the case? Do they have a right to be panicking? Let's see. Kodai Senga. Oh yeah, we're not doing that. What the hell? That's it? Oh wow. Yeah, it's a bunch of
Yeah.
hitters. Clay Holmes, Hunter
There
Green, Chris
I
Sale.
not a fan of him personally, but well, I mean, I don't like him, but as a player, I would put him. Chris Sale to me,
Mm,
he's healthy on that team. Makes a very interesting case to pick him up. It's just how many innings are you going to get?
right, yeah. Doesn't even matter at this point. In points leagues, maybe, but in like roto leagues and category leagues, it might not make a point. But as you can see, once Bassett and Sonny Gray go off the board, the pitching becomes very slim. I mean, you got a bunch of veterans like Chris Sale, Justin Verlander, Shane Bieber, Jordan Montgomery, who's still a free agent, Walker
Oh,
Bueller, who is coming
sure.
back from injury, and then you got the inconsistent but very promising Hunter Green. So,
That was your guy, wasn't it?
yeah, last year for a lot of my
Mhm.
teams, Hunter Green, and there's times where he shows flashes that he's ready to take that next step, and then he goes back to being a frustrating player. But then moving on, Michael King, Mitch Keller, again, they come with a lot of baggage compared to a guy like Chris Bassett or even Sonny Grave, Bailey Ober, who I like. But again, the Twins have replacements in the event that he falters. So control artists, but you know how those control artists are. They give up their stuff. They give up velocity for painting corners and things of that nature. But the best thing about Bailey Ober is he's 6'9".
Right? It's going to sound weird, but when I would see him pitch, and like you said, he is more of a control guy. There's something about a guy that big that relies on control that I'm like, this doesn't even look right. Like I can't.
Well, that's the way the Twins do it. Meanwhile, the White Sox, there is no plan. There is no contingency.
No, yeah,
Uh,
just
yeah, I don't know. Figure it out. Lucas Giolito plays video games to find out how to pitch, how to throw a changeup.
and Dylan Cease is like, yeah, they're sleeping on us this year. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah,
Well, for good
whatever it is,
reason.
you
And
guys,
we
yeah.
we had a very nauseating conversation about that earlier this week about the White Sox and can they win X amount of games? And as is
Hmm.
right now, that's a good solid 70-73 win team. But I understand that there's a lot of people hoping that they do a lot worse than that.
Sell,
But
sell, sell.
well, we'll see what the White Sox do this year. We'll see what all of us do after tonight when keepers are finally announced. For Felipe, or I am Felipe. For Steve, I am Felipe. This has been the Total Basis Podcast. Thanks for listening. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.